Assassin's Creed was never a stealth franchise. Out of 14 mainline entries, only 4.5 games are actual stealth-heavy games, those being Assassin's Creed 1, Unity, Syndicate, and Mirage. Oh, and the half I'm talking about is Assassin's Creed Shadows, since one half you play as a tank of a samurai, and the other half as a stealth shinobi. Now, during the RPG era of Assassin's Creed, I was one of the people that kept saying Assassin's Creed has strayed so far from being a stealth franchise, and that it's all about combat now. But after a series replay, I realized that we had it all wrong. We always expect stealth-heavy Assassin's Creed games, yet Ubisoft showed us early on that these are action-adventure games, not stealth games. If you're new to this channel and enjoy gaming commentaries, I'd appreciate your subscription, as 99% of you watching aren't subscribed yet. I mean, just searching up Assassin's Creed on Google and seeing what genre it's listed as tells you everything. To be clear, I'm not saying Assassin's Creed doesn't have stealth. No, every single Assassin's Creed has a stealth system, but what I'm saying is that the franchise has always given us the illusion where the main gameplay loop is about stealth, and that's simply not true, at least not when compared to the biggest stealth franchises such as Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell, and most importantly the recent Hitman games, which are pretty much Assassin's Creed social stealth done right. After Assassin's Creed 1, which had social stealth at its core, each game started leaning more into combat and action, while stealth slowly took a backseat, well, at least until 2014, where stealth returned to the forefront of the franchise. But only 3 years later, stealth took a backseat again. Yes, I know it's quite complicated, so stick with me as I go back in the franchise's history and explore how stealth in Assassin's Creed was never its main gameplay pillar, but a secondary one. Now, stealth can be divided into two parts, first being social stealth and the second being infiltration stealth. So I'll be taking a look at how each era of Assassin's Creed approached both styles. To clarify what each system means, well, social stealth means hiding in public environments by using crowds of people and hiding spots to practically be invisible. As for infiltration stealth, it's the more traditional system we've been seeing in games like Metal Gear Solid and Splinter Cell, where you usually sneak into a base or camp, make sure you hide in cover, use gadgets and tools to lure and kill your enemies without being detected. Now, the classic era of Assassin's Creed, which starts from Assassin's Creed 1 and ends with Assassin's Creed Revelations, all run on the same engine, which means their gameplay is mostly the same, with newer entries having small yet meaningful improvements. Assassin's Creed 1 is to be credited for taking social stealth and making it a huge gameplay element in gaming. For Assassin's Creed 1, stealth games always took the classic infiltration approach. Social stealth was revolutionary at its time and genuinely creative. It felt so satisfying to slowly approach targets by blending in with others like you're another NPC in the crowd. The Ezio trilogy took this a step further by adding groups of people you can pay to blend in with. From strangers to assassins, it did what good sequels do and improved upon the first game's ideas. The issue here is that social stealth often feels optional. It was never necessary. The opportunities are always there, sure, you can find groups to blend with almost all the time, but it rarely provided incentive to choose it over parkouring on the rooftops or just full-on combat. Social stealth in the classic games had issues as well. Groups often walked slower than your character, making it frustrating to walk at their pace and not yours. AI is quite dumb as well. Guards that would be detecting you would suddenly forget about you if you blended into a group in time. It just feels too easy, and the sense of immersion breaks down when that happens. I mean, what do you mean you're looking at me and you're detecting me, and then as soon as I walk into a group right in front of your eyes, you completely forget where I am and suddenly lose me? It's kind of hilarious. I rarely use social stealth, and when I did, it was for tailing missions in the earlier games and barely in anything else. To be fair, it works and it's available, but it's not as central as we thought. As for the classic infiltration stealth, this is where it gets rough for the classic games, but I have to acknowledge that the devs have wanted to push the idea of social stealth over basic stealth, so a lot of shortcomings make sense here. Basically, normal stealth is almost non-existent here. There's no crouch button to approach guards with less noise, there's no cover button, and the AI is fundamentally made to react with chaos and combat. Take this for example, so there's a tool wheel to use which includes only smoke bombs and throwing knives, and with throwing knives, well, it doesn't work as intended because the older games didn't have an aiming system, meaning you can't get headshots. So what happens is that enemies don't die from a knife and the game goes into full-on combat. So basically both tools don't work as intended. They don't allow you to stay in full stealth, but you have to compromise yourself to use the tools which don't even end up working as intended. The classic games often punish you for choosing stealth over social social stealth or combat. It just feels clunky, lacks depth, and it was clearly not designed to be the main pillar of the games. I mean, personally, I finished the whole Ezio trilogy by just sprinting towards main targets and getting an assassination, not slowly picking off guards as I smartly make my way towards the target, often using combat way more than stealth, even when I'm a stealth-centric gamer. In 2012, Assassin's Creed 3 released and it had a brand new engine. Everything looked, felt, and played different. Black Flag in 2013 followed using the same engine as did Rogue in 2014. The same case as the classic games apply here. AC3, 4, and Rogue, which are called the Kenway Saga, have the same gameplay with minor changes in each installment. In the Kenway Saga, social stealth started to take a backseat. While the same systems from the classic games were included, groups to hire existed but were way less, and it's clear that one of the development goals was to shift focus to normal stealth and combat. This did benefit infiltration stealth quite a lot though. Level design in the Kenway Saga was better. Enemies were placed in areas where you can stealthily kill them and not be forced into chaos and combat. And while we still didn't have a crouch button, which is baffling to think of, they finally included a cover system where the character would automatically take cover behind an object. Enemy AI was slightly better as well. If detected, the whole base doesn't go into apeshit mode. No, you can actually take out the enemy who detected you and resume stealth normally. And now for one of the more memed additions we got in the Kenway Saga, the bushes, which are very much memed by the community by now. They were introduced in the saga where you turn invisible if you're hiding in them. And I personally think they were a great addition because the devs forgot to allow us to crouch, so this worked as an alternative. The Kenway Saga had a range of tools as well, from a bow to sleep and berserk darts. It provided variety that never existed previously. There were some good improvements here. However, while all this sounds good, the biggest issue I had with the Kenway Saga was linearity. It always felt like the games wanted you to take a specific certain stealth path, and if you didn't follow it and attempted to be creative, you'd get punished as enemies are placed in areas designed for one path. The other major issue is that stealth was simply not encouraged. In the main stories, missions pushed you to get into full-scale combat. Stealth missions often existed outside the main story as side content. And no, I'm not saying that stealth didn't exist in the main story. No, there were some missions that pushed you towards stealth, but they were very little in comparison to the rest of the missions in the main stories. When I remember Assassin's Creed 3, I remember Connor's brutal tomahawk kills. As for Assassin's Creed 4, I remember boarding ships and being a badass pirate. These games are never remembered for being good and deep stealth games, and that tells you everything. Now for the part I've been very excited to talk about in the video, Assassin's Creed Unity and Syndicate. This is where I think Ubisoft fulfilled the potential of stealth to its max. These games did a solid effort to bring back social stealth in the forefront like the older games. Unity had huge dense crowds you could blend in with, allowing seamless blending and disguises, which did feel somewhat out of place, but the ability to look like a Templar was pretty cool. Syndicate introduced kidnapping where you could walk with a guard and be almost invisible. They got pretty creative with it. Now while the social stealth was back, these games did infiltration stealth better than any game before it did. The devs really locked in when it came to Unity and Syndicate. Now Unity and Syndicate are remotely the same, so I will discuss them in the same light. These games introduced one of the best ideas in the franchise, that being black box missions. To put it simply, you have a target to assassinate and the game gives you multiple opportunities and ways to kill them, with always a cinematic kill as an option. The variety made stealth so damn fun to experiment with and added so much replayability. Now for the actual core stealth, well, we finally got a crouch button after 7 years. Full-on tool wheels with throwable smoke bombs, distraction bombs, ranged knives and blades. It genuinely felt complete. The level design here was excellent too. I genuinely would sit and plan infiltration before going in. For the first time in the franchise, I felt like I truly was an assassin, using stealth and intelligent planning to carry out the mission. I truly think that this was the perfect base for Assassin's Creed, to just improve upon Unity and Syndicate. But sadly, what came after, Assassin's Creed Origins, well, it downgraded stealth heavily. Origins, to put it simply, started the downfall for the rest of the RPG games. Black box missions were completely removed, so was social stealth. For the first time in the series, we did not have the main pillar of the first game. It doesn't exist at all in Origins. Infiltration stealth was alright. AI was at its best in the franchise with dynamic patterns and good level design, but taking cover was removed for some reason. Throwable smoke bombs and distractions were removed as well. All you had was a bow and the hidden blade. It worked basically, but it lacked the depth the games that came before had. Odyssey followed the same exact pattern, except now you have superpowers, so stealth was even easier, removing any sense of challenge and tension that stealth usually gives. As for Valhalla, well, it's arguably the lowest point of the series when it comes to stealth, at least on release. AI would genuinely detect you through walls. You could be hiding behind a wall and AI would see you. You didn't even have any equipment. It was literally a Viking simulator. The devs brought back social stealth in Valhalla, but it was embarrassingly shallow. It just felt like fan service, with groups to hire but no reason to hire them, crowds that didn't even exist, and all the work that they put into Unity's crowds were thrown in the bin. They felt like background noise. It was just shallow and lacked the depth needed. Now thankfully, Assassin's Creed Mirage is where the devs finally started hearing our feedback and complaints of going from an action-adventure franchise with some stealth implementation to straight up being a demigod/Viking simulator. Mirage straight up gave us one of the best stealth systems in the franchise. Social stealth was back and improved again. Not to Unity's level, but groups to hire were available and felt occasionally useful to blend in when wanted by guards. Infiltration stealth here is excellent, with great level design, a full-on tool wheel specially designed for stealth, which is the first in the franchise. It included throwable knives to smoke bombs to traps, and they took it a step further, where each tool had a full-on upgrade tree. Mirage's stealth was my second favorite after Unity, up until we got Assassin's Creed Shadows. Remember the half-stealth game I discussed at the start? Well, it's the best half-stealth game since Unity. When playing as Naue, the shinobi, assassin, or whatever allows Ubisoft to sleep at night, we got the best and deepest base stealth in the franchise. They pulled the origins though, and they removed social stealth again, so they take one step forward and two steps back. But back to the actual base stealth of Shadows, well, it's so damn good. It's easily the best when it comes to level design in the franchise, with huge castles to infiltrate, a smaller tool wheel but only full of necessities, and we got new assassination types such as a ranged assassination and the iconic shoji kill through paper doors. It's all creative and amazing. AI for the first time in the franchise is actually intelligent. Now while Origins had decent AI, it's actually good here. On the hardest difficulty, they're genuinely smart with detection from long distances and detection even when you're on higher ground. And obviously Shadows, the name of the game, is implemented well in the game as well. Turning off lights and hiding in the dark has you near invisible. It's absolutely sick to manipulate light sources to use as an advantage. It's also very creative. Now this was existent in Splinter Cell years back, but I appreciate that they put it in the newest Assassin's Creed entry. Shadows truly innovated on the infiltration stealth side, but abandoned social stealth, which just doesn't feel complete, especially to a series that started with social stealth. In the end, I think the issue lies mainly in how the franchise was advertised from the start, as it constantly pushed the idea that these are stealth games in advertisements, but in reality, when you get the game in your hands, you're spending time in combat 85% of the time. But the idea that they strayed away from stealth never made sense, as they were never stealth games, but games that featured stealth ranging from decent to great. As mentioned at the start, the majority of Assassin's Creed games push combat, and only a minority, 4.5 games again, reward stealth. I personally would prefer a stealth-heavy future for Assassin's Creed, with challenging combat like Unity where it's treated as a last resort and not the main element, but that might never be the case because the franchise never promised so.